Hello, everybody. I'm terrible at commentary. This is like the 30th time I've tried to do this. So I want to cover a couple things before we start. The first is that this trick does require a charm, and the only way to have a charm for this point is not using it to damage abuse and Raleigh. So that is going to take the time save of this trick down just a few seconds, but overall it's still going to be extremely worth it. The second thing that I would like to note is that this trick is, for me, has been extremely consistent. I feel like if you guys start to have some struggles with it, if you start to worry about it, wondering why you're not getting it following this setup, I would highly recommend, while you're learning it, to record your own gameplay while you're doing it. And once you do get a successful attempt, because it's not going to take you a long time, I promise, this trick is, it feels so much better than it used to be, so much more consistent. It actually feels like a trick that you can do and that will be viable, which is very nice, because it's, for me, it's never felt like that until right now. So record yourself doing it. Eventually you will get a successful attempt, and then from there you can use your own recording as kind of a way of figuring out a lineup that works for you. The last thing is kind of goes hand in hand with that second one, where I feel like a lot of setups in Sly that require camera specific visual cues can be a little bit different from person to person, because we all have different setups. We're all not using the exact same capture card on the exact same television with the exact same settings. All of these tiny little things can play a very small part. And I feel like in the past, and when I say in the past, I mean years and years ago when I started running, if there was a trick that didn't have a perfect setup, it was kind of just a figure it out, you just got to get a feel for it kind of thing. And I feel like that statement is still true, but instead of being like, oh, just figure it out, it's more so these setups are just not 100% perfect because we don't have the same settings, we don't have the same resolution, etc., etc. So that's that. Let's get into the actual setup video. So starting out, when we're jumping out of bounds here, I tend to use just like the starting spot where I get out of bounds at pretty much all the time. One of the things that I'm looking for at the start is I kind of want to be in between this little jutting out part of this huge pillar on the left side and this right pillar. I don't want to be perfectly in between them. I want to be a lot closer to this left side, than, in between, but it's still in between them. And then down here, there's this light bulb. There's, 1, 2, 3, 4. The second one, I'm also a little bit to the left of that. Now you're gonna see me basically all the time. Anytime you see me do this trick, for whatever reason, I've been hitting the binocucom. I don't know why. It just, I don't know why. I wish I could explain it to you. I think it's for this. In my head, I think it's to make Sly do this. And what that does is it allows me to see his, foot down here. This is lined up with this second white line. There's 1, here's 2. This is the last thing that you can really look for. And once you've turned your camera to the right spot, you'll also notice 3 things that you can look for here. So this spot isn't going to be exact every single time. It's kind of just impossible to do that with our game. We don't have perfect movement options. But generally speaking, this is what you want Sly to look like. This is kind of non-negotiable, being onto this line. Being to the left of this second light bulb is what you want to see. You want to see Sly's head lined up with this pillar. These are all things to show that Sly's pretty much in the right spot. Now, this comes from having the camera angle set up correctly. And you'll notice that there's these 2 obelisk things here. There's this one, and then there's this one. This one, you'll see that they're black. There's like a black texture at the top of this. On the second one, let me go ahead and call this. The second one, you'll notice that there is nothing up there. I wish I could show you, the stupid arrow gets in the way and I don't really know how to get rid of it. But there is no, like, you're not really able to see them there because the camera's cutting it off. There are also three white dots up here underneath this window pane. There's also a fourth one that's just getting cut off. It's like starting literally right here. You're going to want to cut that one off, so basically being to the left side of it. And that's going to make this little angle up here, this little like four-sided thing, four-sided object up here. This is kind of what I've been looking for, what I've been using more as my visual cue. But there are these, these things have been consistent throughout as well. I've just been doing it like this because I'm weird. I don't know. I like to make things harder for myself, I guess. But once you've gotten all this stuff figured out, slide looks like this, and the right side of your camera looks like this. This is where you're going to hold up and X. You're going to hold those all the way through to where you hit the void drown. Once you started drowning, you can let go of those and turn the camera so that Sly is facing you. And this is just to see whether or not you got the trick or not. So you can, reset quicker if you get sent towards the bridge for whatever reason, because the bridge likes to be a dick. And, not let your grounded position update because this game is fun. So the last thing of importance is to let the void animation play out the entire way through. So basically, I don't press X to cancel it. It just cancels automatically. And once you've gotten this super like high jump here, Sly kind of goes through this portion of the pillar. And then the camera just starts slowly panning. You're in the golden here. The last thing that you need to note is Sly will start turning, like he'll be lit up here once you get into the second part of the level. And you're just going to wait a little bit after that and then swing your cane to cancel the momentum. Let me see if I can get a better still. I think it's about as good as we're going to get, sorry. So if you cancel it a little too late, like a little bit later than that, you will usually land up here on this. Once you've swung your cane to cancel the momentum, you can start turning Sly a little bit. So you can try to turn him towards this. And worst case scenario, if you're somehow too late, you can land on these. And that's basically the same thing. It's just a tiny bit slower. If you press too early, you can get lucky, depending on how early you press it, and you can bounce off of the invisible wall that surrounds the roulette wheel, and it'll actually let you you'll bounce off of it and just fall down in here. Ideally, this is what you want to have happen, and most of the time, this is what's going to happen. But it is worth noting those two things, where if you're too early, you'll probably bounce off of this, and still like the very tip top of it is where you're going to bounce off of, and you'll probably fall in here and be fine. And if you press it too late, like I said, you have those chandeliers to land on. Otherwise, land in here, you're good to go. I guess if you wanted to get the charm back, you could, load the game or whatever, but I don't really think the charm from that point matters. So there you have it. That is Boneyard Void Drown. I think this is a very consistent trick. Like I was saying, I feel like it's a lot better now than it used to be. And if you're having some trouble with it again, just record yourself doing it, and it should go a lot better. Hope this helps out, and I apologize for the length. Like I said at the start of this video, I'm very bad at commentary, but people seem to like the setup videos, so I guess I'm doing something right. I don't know, but peace out, guys.